Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be replacing the light socket on this three-way lamp. We should have low, medium, and high settings, but as you can see, what we have is on and off. So I've already taken the time to replace the light bulb. Threw in a brand new three-way light bulb. Nothing's changed, so it's still the same thing. So that leads me to believe that the socket's going bad. So I did pick up these replacements online. I will link them in the description down below. But it's pretty cheap, about $6-7 for a pair of sockets. This way I'll always have one on hand in case I need it in the future. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on this. If you find this video helpful, please consider giving a like and subscribing to the channel. Of course, first step before working on anything with electricity, we're gonna come and unplug it from the power source and make sure we're safe there. To get access to our socket, in order to replace it, we need to remove the lampshade here. And there are a few different styles and ways to mount it to the light itself. This one is, I believe they call it an Uno style. Basically just has a ring that presses down on the body of the light socket. There's a few other styles. One that might clip right onto the bulb right on top. You just pull that off. And then there's one that has a giant, what they call a harp, that would attach to these little pedestals here. To remove that, you might have a little collar that you just have to push out of the way. And then you pinch the harp in and pull it out of the base. Basically what we're trying to do is get the lampshade out of the way and then remove the bulb, whatever order you need to do that in your case. So in this instance, all I have to do is remove my three-way light bulb, set that aside and save it for later, and then just get in here and the lampshade should pull right off. And as you can see, there's that ring, it just presses right onto the body. Next up, we have to get access to the socket itself, and there's a few different ways to do this depending on what kind of style housing you have. The old-fashioned ones were kind of a metal crimp, and basically the top half you just have to kind of pinch and pull out of the bottom half, and then you can pull your socket straight out. This one's a little different. I've actually never seen this style before, but this sticker is around the outside and right in the middle in this seam, so I had to pull the sticker off. I saved it just to, just for reference down the road. But basically we just have to screw off top half, and here we have access to our socket. Now we're just going to pull this straight up. Don't be afraid to give it a little tug just to get some slack on the wiring. Now we have access to the wiring underneath. Now the wires going into the socket might be attached in a number of different ways. You can see in this case they're actually just pressed into the body of the socket itself. Basically what we're going to do is make note of the marking so that you can see this side. I don't know if you guys can see that, is negative where it says white, and this one says positive. So we're going to take note of that because on the new socket all we have are gold and silver terminals, and usually with household electricals the gold's always going to be your hot terminal or your positive terminal, and you can see that kind of lines up with where our wiring is at right now on the old one. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can pull the wiring out of here. If not, I might have to cut the wiring. And they're pretty good. And again, as we're pulling the wires out of here, just make sure you make note of which one came out of which side. Probably easier just to cut this, but I've noticed that the wires are actually soldered on the end here, and that is something I could do after the fact, but just to save ourselves some time and work, I'm just going to reuse the soldered part here. Not that they have to be soldered, but you could always do it if you wanted to, depending on your connection. Get some leverage on this one, and you can see that actually just came apart. But cool, so we have our wires out of the socket now, and then we can wire them up to our new socket. Okay, so now we're going to install our new one, and like I said earlier, we have screw terminals on the new socket instead of pushing them into the body itself. So we're going to go ahead and back these out just so we can attach our wires. And I took note, this one is my neutral or white side from the old socket, and we are just going to wrap it around under the screw. And then go ahead and screw that down to lock it in place. Then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side here. Side I'll actually grab pliers, kind of curl that around like so. Go ahead and hook it behind our screw. And hopefully you can see I'm trying to get all the bare part of the wire in contact behind where the screw is or wherever this metal plate is. You don't really want it sticking out past the bottom of the light bulb socket. It's not going to do you much good there anyway. Alright, so these are nice and snug. I'm OCD, so I'm going to double check them here real quick. But there you can see we have both wires screwed into place. So now we're going to go ahead, put this back into the light. I might have to give the cord a tug from the underside just to get rid of some of that slack we gave ourselves. Push that back down in. Screw in our housing if I can get it right. There you have it. Now the only thing left to do is to reinsert our light bulb and test it, make sure everything's working great. Okay, so I've plugged the light back into our outlet. I have the bulb and shade back in place. So moment of truth, let's see what happens. There you have it, guys. We have all 3 light settings back. We're gonna have a lot more light in our room. And as you can see, that was a pretty simple repair. It's something you can do yourself in 5 minutes or less. So it was pretty basic hand tools too. All I needed was a screwdriver and maybe some pliers just to help me out. That's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you found it helpful, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.